Hi, I'm still the political geek that is Martin Curtis, and this is still Change from the Centre. Back to some serious domestic politics today. I want to talk about some quite subtle changes in language that I've seen from the Conservative Party, and I want to talk about why it's important and about the difference between the language that's emerging from them and the language used by Reform UK. So I'm going to highlight it by playing a couple of videos. The second one is Penny Mordaunt from her appearance on Trevor Phillips on Sky on Sunday. But before that, I'm going to play a quick clip from Nigel Farage.
Now, I've been saying Britain is broken, Britain needs reform.
So that's the Nigel Farage phrase, which is Britain is broken. And Reform have been using that a long time. And you've heard it from a number of other politicians as well. But this is the quote from Kemi Badenoch, which I really applaud, actually.
What you get from Kemi is she understands. I mean, if you've switched on your water taps this week and you've not had any water come out, things do feel broken. But it's not the country that's broken, it's politics.
You get the difference, and it's a difference between is politics broken or is it the country as a whole? And I strongly argue, and that's the purpose of this, the whole purpose of this podcast really is to talk about broken politics. But if you focus on Britain, the point for me is what you do is you give politics and politicians a get out. That's why I think Reform, part of the reason why Reform use that language. Nigel Farage likes to portray himself as the new guy and all that stuff. And so by talking about Britain being broken, it takes the focus a little bit off him as a politician. And there's a reality. Nigel has been around as a nuisance in British politics for a long time. I don't know whether he would like me or not using him as and describing him as a nuisance. But in my view, that's what he is. And, you only have to look at the roles he's played within UKIP, within the Referendum Party, and now within Reform UK to say, actually, that is what he is. So Britain is broken suits him, because it allows him to push that agenda. But there's a reality, which is that what it also allows him to do is offload the blame onto others. So by saying Britain is broken, he can talk about migrants. He can talk about people that claim welfare, as examples. And I could put loads and loads of different examples in, and that. I'm sure you can all think of them. But there's a reality, which is it's our political framework that allowed a migrant crisis to develop. It's our political framework that is allowing welfare people to claim welfare. And if there are too many people claiming welfare, or if the welfare bill is too high, then that is down to the political framework that we have. And that to me pushes the fact that politics is broken. And Penny Mordaunt pushed it down to something that is appearing in the news more and more at the moment, which is people in the southeast of England and the south finding themselves in a situation where they can't get water. And it's a horrible story, but it emanates from the fact that the political control over the water industry is not adequate. There was another story over the weekend that was on Sky, which was about a poor lady who and a family who have found themselves surrounded by an illegal rubbish dump. It was an awful story, and I sat looking at it and thinking, okay, where they are is absolutely horrific, and there's no two ways about it. Somebody needs to basically kick somebody up the backside and get that sorted. But how has it been allowed to get to that point? And that is a broken political system, not least because the Environment Agency, are a public organisation. So for me, the phrase broken politics is more relevant. There is something else, though, about broken politics that I think is worth talking about, which is people's perceptions of politics. Now, I could throw some, and I'm going to put a chart up here, and I could throw and talk forever about one aspect of this, which is proportional representation. But I've already done that. So if you want to watch my video on that, there'll be a link in the description to allow you to have a look at it and see why I think the case for proportional representation in Britain has never been stronger. But I want to put something up about people's perceptions of our political system as it is at the moment. 45% almost never trust governments to put the national interest first. I think that's quite a difficult stat, actually, even though it's not more than half. I think it's a really, really difficult stat, especially when you think about what we're dealing with internationally at the moment. The Greenland thing, which I've also done a podcast about, is another example. The next one about politicians never telling the truth. I think it's a given. We know that people don't trust politicians to tell the truth. 79% believe the UK governing system needs significant improvement. That's why, the PR thing, the proportional representation thing is important. 87% have little or no trust in politicians at all. I just want to make that last point really, stress something there. 87%. That number is absolutely huge. And again, that shows that our political system is broken. So what I think is happening is the Conservative Party have decided to find some very different language to use to suggest that something needs fixing. It's not broken Britain, it's broken politics. And the reason why I think that's happening is because, and the reason I think it's happening is because Kemi Badenoch has made a very, very similar quote today about politics being broken in an interview. And I think the fact that we've got two senior politicians from the Conservative Party talking about broken politics says to me that that's the agenda they're moving towards. I absolutely welcome that. And I think it will offer, if they can do something that creates and generates traction, I think it will offer a genuine alternative to the Labour Party at the moment, who, let's be blunt about it, do come across as pretty rudderless, to be honest, at the moment. But it also does the Lib Dems as well, because they, in terms of change, have probably been consistently the most radical party in the centre ground, and they've been pushing proportional representation for years and years and years. But proportional representation is only part of the story. And here's the thing. For the Conservatives to really, really make this work, they are going to have to build a narrative around how they are going to fix politics. And I'm not convinced the will is there for them to do it in the way we need, which is almost function by function review and change. How are they going to create a situation where a country that is described as the most centralized nation in the Western world is going to create a situation where, how are they going to create a situation where funding, decision making attached to funding is devolved? I would argue it's through regional government. I would welcome a return to regional government in the UK, but it would have to come with tax raising powers alongside a cut in taxation in the centre. How are they going to create an education system where every single individual leaves education with a ladder to success in front of them, and importantly, the belief that they can climb that ladder and achieve success, because that's the sort of stuff you need if you really want to get Britain to take a leap forward. How are they going to change the fact that we cannot deliver an infrastructure project such as HS2 without it running over budget and over time? I could go on and on and on about what they could and what they need to do, but everybody knows them all, and some of these I will cover in future topics on change from the centre. So, you know, that's a call to action, really. If you like what I'm saying, please subscribe, because when I do release those videos, it means you'll be notified. Okay, and but basically, you know, where it comes to for me in this is that we should applaud the fact that the Conservative Party seem to be moving in the right direction as far as the need for political change and the recognition of the fact that it is our political system that is broken, not our country, which is still full of wonderful, wonderful people. I we should applaud it, but we need to then start pushing and pushing if they are going to move to that narrative for very, very quick ideas and thoughts about how they're going to fix it. And for me, they can't do it from where they sit at the moment, which is why I quite like all the right wingers leaping over to reform. They can't fix it from the right. They have to sit in the centre and look at a one nation agenda that looks at how we create ambition and turn ambition and aptitude into achievement. I could talk about this forever. I think that 12 minutes or so is probably enough, but I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope you've enjoyed listening. I really appreciate the fact that more and more people are turning to my videos and having a look at them. I really enjoy doing them as well. And thanks very much. And as I said, please like and subscribe.